everyone, welcome to another video. My hair looks ridiculous today because I'm trying something. I'm like trying to see if I can like maybe make the sides of my hair more voluminous. I have no idea. This could go really badly, but my filming queue is very long and we're doing things one step at a time. Probably way too late to be useful to anybody, but at the same time I need to just get things done. I'm going to update you guys on the Flower Nose Chocolate Shop collection. I know it's literally been months since that collection released, and I do actually have an affiliate code in the description box. So I don't have anything on my face yet. We'll just kind of do like the full get ready with me situation. I definitely don't have a full face worth of makeup from Flower Nose, but we'll just do as much as I can. So first things first, I'll just pop on some lip balm. I'm gonna use the CHANTECAILLE Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint. My son. No, let go. Dude, stop.
Hey, look at. You wanna say hi?
He's cross-eyed. I don't know if you can tell. Look, he's cross-eyed. I know, he's so cute. It's normal for him. He's very cross-eyed. Okay, I'm still testing this out. I've not used it as often as I thought I would because honestly, I just prefer to use my Dominique Cosmetics primer if I can help it, but I'm supposed to be actually like testing out stuff and giving my honest opinions on it, and I'm pretty sure my primer's covered in cat hair now. We'll see. We'll see how much cat hair I rub on my face from this. This is why I shouldn't be touching cats before I sit down to film. My skin is not in the greatest shape today. I've seen better days. I have definitely come to really enjoy using setting spray to prime and kind of just moisturize and wet my face a little bit, so I'm just going to do a nice generous layer. And then I didn't wet my sponge again because I'm dumb, so I'm going to continue to, I'm just going to use this puff again. And then lastly, well, I probably should have done this first. I've heard sometimes it's like you're supposed to let it sit for a little bit before you actually put your makeup on. Okay, so I feel like my skin at this point is very hydrated. The Flower Nose aesthetic and the way that they do their models frequently has very kind of marshmallow soft skin, so we're gonna go for a marshmallow skin kind of finish. So in order to do that, I like using a medium to high coverage foundation that just kind of, it's not too dewy and it's not too matte. I'm going to be using powder to really blur out the pores, get that marshmallow finish. So if it's too dewy, then it's going to not blur the texture enough, but if it's too matte, I can't really put much powder on top of it. So I'm going to use the Luminous Silk Foundation from Giorgio Armani. This is just my ancient mini. And then after I did my other older video where I tried to use a spatula and it just didn't quite work, I double checked the spatula I have and I just looked at the Picasso one on Olive Young to see what the difference was, and I was correct. My hunch was correct. The Morphe spatula, the smooth spatula on the end of the Morphe tool, is like super short, but then the Olive Young spatula, it's like really long, and I do suspect it probably has a different thickness and it's probably higher quality metal. So you can see the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. It's one of my favorite foundations of all time. I feel like it's a really timeless foundation. It never really goes out of trend. It just has a very skin-like finish. You can make it super dewy, but you can also mattify it down, and it has kind of just a very middle medium coverage. I'm just gonna go in with my JX Professional Concealer today just because I want to try a new brush. I saw a concealer brush that Pony's been using in several videos, and then I saw that Minsko was using it too, and I was like, what brush is this? And I finally found it. It's called MYAURA 171. It's a lip brush, and I actually was able to find it on Amazon instead of having to, you know, go through the awful and sad realization that I can't actually get it in America. I was able to get it off Amazon, so that was cool. I do really like the shape. It seems like it's really great for precise application, and the reason I'm using the JX one is just so I can test the qualities of the brush. Because yeah, I was like, well, if Minsko and Pony are using the same brush, they must know something I don't. And upon opening it, it also has a little bit of thickness. It is not as razor thin as the Clinique one is, so it has a little bit of body to it, which makes it blend the concealer out pretty nice. Because the only problem I have with the Clinique concealer is it does take a lot of patience to get the product blended out without leaving behind visible brush strokes, because the brush itself is, you know, it's a very thin flat brush. But I don't like brushes that are basically round circles either. I feel like I lose precision. Okay, this was really easy to use. And now as you can tell, the JX Professional Concealer just always has the highest coverage of any concealer I've ever tried. The two products I'm going to share are the Circus powder and the Flower Goddess powder. I believe I've spoken about both already at great length, so I'm not going to talk about them again. I thought this was like one of the best under eye powders I've ever used. Yeah, I think the exposure is too high because I have a dead light right now, so I had to raise my exposure and it's not making anything that's got stark white packaging is not really looking so hot. This powder is one of the best under eye powders that I've ever used, period. Like when I first got it and started using it, I almost thought about decluttering all of my other pressed powders, but because it is white, it's not completely translucent, so it does have a subtle brightening effect, so I didn't follow through with that, but I was very tempted. And then the other powder I really enjoy using is the Flower Nose Circus powder, which I have in the shade 01 Transparent. Again, not totally transparent. It has a tension net here, which I don't know again if you can see, but there's a lid. It does come with a puff, which is what most Chinese makeup kind of videos tend to promote, is to use a puff. So I'll use it today. I generally don't use it. And so basically it's like you're trying to like almost soak the puff thoroughly with powder, and then you just very gently tap it onto your skin. I definitely have been interested in trying the Fluorescence ones. I just don't really have the spare budget for it yet. Maybe I'm hoping I can grow my channel enough that I'll start getting PR, you know? I didn't put on like too much because I don't want to dry my skin, and I also don't want my blush to not even stick, because if your face is powdered down too much, then you'll find that your cheek products don't really get to full opacity. So I'm just gonna put on a light layer so you can see I still maintain a little bit of glow, but you can also see how my texture and my pores, especially right here, are just like gone. While I work on my eyebrows, I'm going to put on eye primer. I've not really noticed Asian beauty creators using eye primer, period. Like Pony and Minsko both do not use eye primer. I feel like they probably just powder their eyelids and then they go into their eyeshadow on their eyelids with powder, and so then they get that sheer wash of color that is really trendy over there. I personally prefer to use an eye primer. I don't like how eyeshadow looks on me if I powder my lids because I don't like that kind of application. And then for eyebrows, I do want to have a softer-ish, at least try a softer-ish brow today. So I'm going to use the ESPOIR Brow Balance, which is going to allow me to do that because it is more of a gray. It's in the shade Cool Gray. A lot of people in China will go for almost like just straight up brown brows, especially because it seems like a lot of creators online have their hair dyed to more of a brown color. This is not going to be my best brow day I've ever had. Why do my brows look so bad today? The universe decided that I was gonna have the bad brow day today. I'm gonna take a spoolie and see if I can't lighten this up a little bit just by brushing it harshly enough. Okay, I just used a little bit of concealer on the tops of my brows to thin them down. We'll just go with it because like my bangs are gonna cover it up at the end anyways. I have two palettes from the Chocolate Shop collection, and as you can see, they both come in different packaging. Each color has different packaging. So I got the shade 02 Young Shepherdess, which, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely was really attracted to the green, but I will say the whole palette was really pretty. And then of course I got 01 the Nutcracker, which is the most neutral, and it wasn't as warm as some of the other offerings were. I think there were what, 3 or 4 of these, unlike Strawberry Rococo where there was like a whole bunch. I will say the green is really good, so yeah, I'll just use this today so you guys can see how the green performs, because I know it's always kind of a curiosity to see how Asian brands do bright colors. So I'm going to start off with the green. But you can also, they are a soft powder. There is slight kick up in the pan, but not too much, and that does mean that these shadows blend out really well. I think these shadows are definitely a really big step up in terms of their quality. So as you can see, this is a very beautiful green. It's actually quite a unique shade of green. It doesn't lean one way or the other either. It is very much a very balanced green, equal amounts of yellow and blue in this. Very slightly desaturated, but not too much that it reads as a sage green. The matte formula from Flower Nose tends to have a smoothing effect, which I've definitely noticed with a lot of matte Asian powder products, is that matte products from brands like Flower Nose and other Asian beauty brands is that they also tend to be simultaneously blurring. So yeah, that's the green laid down. Really easy, really pretty. So So I'm gonna end that there. I'm just gonna keep the green closer to the lash line, and then I'm gonna go into the brown shade of this palette, which is very soft brown. And this is such a beautiful, soft, almost contour-esque shade for me, while also blending everything out. And the pan sizes, the pan shapes and the pan embossings are so cute. And do you see that soft effect I'm giving myself there? Okay, I accidentally put more on the side. And you can see I was able to blend out my almost mistake. Alright, and now at the very outer corner, I'm going to take the darkest brown in this palette, and I'm just going to start adding depth right there. So if you had a double eyelid, then this would be the shade you kind of pull through your double eyelid. Pull a little bit lighter on the eye than in the pan, like they're not going to be full opacity, but it's very blendable, very buildable. This shade could also be used for very subtle, barely there shadow liner. This is a flower nose mirror. I do have other flower nose mirrors I've gotten as gifts with purchase, but because this one is still perfectly good, all of my other flower nose mirrors are actually still unopened. I just really like this one because it's nice and tiny. So now I'm going to go into this shade right here, and I'm going to use this to just really blend out those edges, make sure everything is super soft. This shade will barely show up on my skin tone, but it will still show up a little bit, so it'll also add a little bit of warmth. There are a lot of light shades in this palette. I mean, there's 3 light shades, and I feel like all 3 of them are a little bit redundant, but again, given that it's a Chinese brand, it really doesn't surprise me. A lot of Chinese, Japanese, and Korean brands tend to have eyeshadow palettes that are very light heavy. I just deal with it. And then I'm going to take that pinky shade, and I'm going to use that out here. And it barely shows up on my skin as they vary as an ever so slightly, barely even qualifies as like almost a blushy tone. So I'm just gonna stick this in the outer corner because it's gonna merge into the blush I'll put down later. This is what the matte eyeshadows are looking like now. As you can see, it is just so soft. I just find the gradations and blends and the almost like painterly effect you can create with these flower nose shadows. It is just so pretty. So I'm going to now go into the glittery shades. Now they're not like actual glitters, they're totally eye safe, but they definitely are the ultimate in glistening toppers. And these are she sells seashells by the seashore. They're the seashell shaped pans here. I am going to go into the other palette for the topper on the green because this palette has a warmer shade here. Now you can absolutely use a finger. I just want to go for precision, so I'm using a brush, but you can totally use a finger. Honestly, that is the way it looks best. These are very hard pressed. They feel super dry, and so they stay forever. And you can intensify it by using a glitter glue or by wetting it, or again by using your finger. But yeah, they don't have like any greasiness or excess moisture to them. They are super hard pressed, super dry, so it's very easy to put on as a topper. And then if you want more impact, you see on my finger. So now on the other eye, I will start with my finger so you guys can kind of see the finger application. See how it kind of is like a more intense layer. Now these basically have virtually no base pigment to them whatsoever, so these are toppers through and through. There is no other way to use them. Like, these are toppers. You're not gonna get opaque layers, you're not gonna get foiled. This is definitely the trendy sparkly finish that is so trendy in China right now. I am going to use a pencil brush, so I'm using REPHR 03, and I'm gonna use the same palette. I'm gonna use the brighter seashell shade. Use this as the Aegyo color. Now in China, emphasizing the under eye fat is very much trendy, as is contouring under that area. This is a much brighter shade, but it still is more champagne as opposed to being like cold, so it'll still go with this look. And now I'm going to use Revelation as my true inner corner highlighter, because I do want my inner corner highlighter to have a little more pigment to it, a little more smoothness. Revelation is probably, again, I don't know if the camera's picking it up. So this is, I think, one of the best highlighters of all time, in my humble opinion. I really just cannot think of anything this highlighter does badly. It has everything in the perfect balance. It does everything perfectly. It's so sad that there's not available anywhere. Are you kidding me? So I'm going to use this on my inner corners, and I will also use this on my face so you guys can really see. It's such a beautiful inner corner highlight too. You look at that, see? And they had a limited edition shade at one point, and this was before I really was aware of the brand, so I never was able to get it. It's called Cupid, and that shade is probably my ultimate white whale. I've never seen Cupid for sale in the secondhand market, just period. I'm gonna do some eyeliner, and for that I want to use something a little bit more kind of cool. Hope it's not already drying out. See how much of a difference it makes for me to line my inner corner like that? So yeah, I drew a wing that is more straight out, horizontal, and it's also very thin. I am just gonna do mascara today. Okay, I put way too much on my left eye compared to my right eye. Work it so that it's a little less obvious. I think it took me like maybe 8 or 9 tries to get the hand position right, but the most important thing is just to remember to hold it like this, and then that way you'll be able to get it right. Now, if you curl your non-dominant side with your dominant hand, so you have to reach over your face, I cannot help you. I don't know the angle for that because as you can see, I just use the same hand for each side. But if you have to actually like go over and across, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to help you there. I can't tell you. I'm just going to use LANCOME Lash Idole on the lower lashes. Now I don't really have lashes, so you know, we're working with what we got here. Now I'm gonna curl my lashes, and I recently got this fancy little contraption. I got this off Olive Young to make free shipping, and also the curiosity got to me. I got this heated lash curler from Olive Young. It was like $16, $17. Now sadly it's not USB chargeable, which would have been better. It does actually, you have to put batteries in it. Now I do have to warn you, that heated lash curler gets actually pretty hot. Like I was like, okay, is it safe for an eyelash curler to be that hot? So you turn it on with the switch, and it actually heats up pretty much within 60 seconds. It does fit the curve of my eye really nicely too, by the way. It is on the flatter side, and I'm actually able to get this really close to right at the roots of my lashes, which is super nice. It doesn't ever feel like I'm pinching my skin at all, probably because of the soft kind of silicone pad and the plastic as opposed to metal. Now if I were to use this with completely straight lashes and then use a non-waterproof mascara, would it still stay up? I don't know. I can't tell you because my lashes are currently permed. So what I do is I curl my lashes with the heated lash curler. This lets me really access the roots of my lashes as well. And then after the mascara has dried, I will go back in with the heated lash curler again, and I will recurl my lashes. Now it does get the lash curler kind of dirty, but that's what you clean it for. But yeah, I just the purpose of me curling my lashes with the heated lash curler before I go in with my first coats of mascara is because then my mascara really gets to the base of my lashes. I just realized I didn't do inner eyeliner on one of my eyes. Now we're symmetrical. So I'm gonna just work on the rest of my face and let the lashes dry. So first off, I'm going to show the blush. There are 3 collections of blush that I have blushes from. I don't have the Circus gradient blushes. Kind of wanted them, but I don't know. I tried the MYAURA gradient blushes from MYAURA Beauty, and I just never used those, so I didn't know if it was because it was MYAURA Beauty and the quality wasn't that great, or if maybe I just don't like gradient blushes, so I never but the unicorn blushes that I have, the unicorn blushes tend to run very light and pastel, borderline chalky. I use these to brighten up my face or blend out my blush, or if I want an ultra subtle look. If I want to successfully use the unicorn blushes, I do have to use foundation that is about half a shade to a shade lighter, and then I really have to, like, you know, up the contour. So that's the unicorn line. I'd say the unicorn line is probably going to be the most unwearable as a result of that. The strawberry line blushes are actually all surprisingly neutral, even maybe almost a little bit mauvey, so I don't use these shades very often. They don't flatter me the most, but they are particularly unique. But the chocolate Wonder Shop blushes I think are going to be the most wearable. All the blushes in the Chocolate Shop line are also warmer, you know, the whole chocolate theme. They don't actually smell like chocolate, but here you can see how they are warmer. Really, really pretty, and I do personally like both of these, so I'm going to go in with the shade 03 Tartan Coat. So personally, my favorite blushes are the Chocolate Shop blushes because they just, you know, they actually like show up on me and stuff like that. I'm just going to use this blush and I'm going to start it up here. So remember how I said I laid down that blushier tone of eyeshadow kind of at the back of my eyes? I'm going to use that as the jumping off point for where my blush is being placed. And the thing about Flower Nose blushes is they are very matte, extremely matte. As you put it down, it will actively mattify and blur your skin. I don't actually have the Roman Better Than Cheek Renewed packaging / renewed formula. I only have their old formula, and I found the old formula was so mattifying and so blurring. I do want to try the new colors that they have in the new packaging and new formula. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. That's what that looks like. It is so pretty, and they blend like a dream. You can totally get like painted watercolor-esque looks. And this is with me using Luminous Silk in shade 2, which is more or less, you know, a shade match for me, as opposed to using foundations that are lighter than my skin tone, which is like 75% of my foundation collection because I don't know how to match my skin tone. So yeah, I love Flower Nose's blush formula. I definitely want to see them continue to come out with blushes. I love the packaging of their blushes, and I just, yeah. So I kind of personally, whenever I buy from Flower Nose blushes, I try to buy what is kind of the almost representation of each range. So the unicorn blushes, I got the most pastel ones. The strawberry blushes, I got kind of the pinky ones, and then for Chocolate Shop, I got the warmest ones. As I've said, I think I've mentioned before, if there is one brand I dream of being on the PR list of, it is Flower Nose. Like if I had one PR goal, it would be Flower Nose. I think I would die happy if I ended up on the PR list of Flower Nose, which is such a vapid and silly goal to have, but just as a personal YouTube goal, to be on the Flower Nose PR list would be such an honor. I have 2 contour products from Flower Nose, but one of them I don't think you can obtain anymore at all, period. And I actually, again, I got this off Taobao. It is the Bare Contour Trio, and this one, I would say the formula, it's not the best. It doesn't, I find, blend the easiest, and it is a lot, honestly, it's even lighter than it looks in the pan. And the white shade I tried to use as like an under eye kind of highlighter to conceal my tear duct area, and I feel like it didn't really work. So this product is, to me, honestly pretty mediocre. I mostly just have it at this point for the packaging and for collector's reasons. This is everything that is and more. The only thing that's wrong with this is that it's too small. I wish this was 30% larger, and every single pan, especially this pan right here, was bigger. The pans are just so criminally tiny. I almost at one point seriously considered getting a backup because of how small the pans are, and then I told myself, you idiot, you have so many makeup products, why do you need to get a backup? But I genuinely thought for a second that I should. But anyways, this is perfect. So as you can see, I'm just gonna use, I just mixed the 2 contour shades. One of them is cooler, one of them's warmer, but I mixed them both, and they are so much more pigmented than you expect. They actually almost go onto the face even more intensely than they look in the pan. This, I think, I like just kind of tap off a little bit, and that's enough. And it blends out so easily, and it's so matte. It really is great. And if I have a super cool makeup look, I just use the contour pan. If I have a really warm makeup look, I can just use the bronzer pan. It's not super warm, like it's not as warm as Hoola or anything, but it is warmer. So it's just so great. I love this. This is what I bring with me when I travel. And I'm not going to be using it in this look today, but this highlighter is very reminiscent of Revelation. It's a little bit more translucent, a little bit sparklier, and it's not quite as warm, but it is very similar. And then this is like a brightening under eye setting powder hybrid. It reminds me of the one in the CLIO Symphony Trios, and it is even better to me. It's so similar to the Flower Goddess setting powder, but it's not translucent. Everything in here is amazing. There is not a single dud in here. The formulas of everything work so perfectly, and the packaging is just absolutely to die for. I love plaid. One of my favorite luxury designer is, besides Saint Laurent, I also really like Burberry, and specifically I like Burberry's check pattern, so I absolutely die for this check pattern here. But the highlighter in that palette is amazing. But I'm gonna go back into Revelation, and I'm gonna use Revelation. So I just take a little bit on my finger, And then I like to apply it in a more soft manner. I don't usually apply this super intensely. If I want an intense highlighter, I do have, you know, I have other highlighters in my collection that can go intense really quickly without needing to be built up, so. But as you can see, it just has such a pretty, it really just accentuates the light that's already hitting your cheekbone. This is just the perfect highlighter. I do also have Aria, which is more of a blue. It's more of like a blue. And that one's a little bit more sparkly. I'm now going to go into the lips. So I have two products from them, but I don't know if they're going to match. But the first one I have is the matte. It's a matte lip product, I believe. Yeah, it's a matte lip product. As you can see, I have it in a red color. Obviously this is not gonna match. I bought this almost exclusively because of the packaging. I really wanted to have one strawberry themed thing on display. Strawberries are my favorite food, so Strawberry Rococo was a collection that really grabbed at my heartstrings, and I knew I definitely wanted this just to display on my vanity, so this is very prominently displayed on my vanity, and it just makes me feel all the whimsical cottagecore vibes. The other product I have I got mostly because there's cats on it, and it is the Circus lipstick. This one is more of that, it's more of a kind of hydrating cream slash shiny finish. Again, I don't know if this will work, but I am just gonna at least use it as a base lip shade, and if it doesn't work all over as the point lip look, I'll just use something else on top of it. I'll use this first. So I'm just going to very slightly overline with the shade. I don't think this color will work with the look though. Well, no, something a little bit warmer maybe actually would work because my blush is on the warm side. No, I think this will work. I'm going to use the YSL Tatouage Couture Velvet Cream Lipstick in the shade 212. I much prefer the lip stain or whatever they call it, the one with the gold cap. I much prefer that one because it's not quite as thick and sticky. But take a guess which one they discontinued, eh? The one thing I gotta say about YSL lips though is the applicator, always best applicators in the market. Okay, so that's gonna be, I'm gonna just go ahead and take my bangs down. If you guys have any styling products for making bangs curlier or just making the hair look a little bit fluffier and more thick and stuff, let me know and I might try it. So at this point, my makeup's done. My mascara is honestly basically dry, and as you can see, it did drop a little bit. Now, usually most people say you don't want to curl lashes with mascara on them because you can break your lashes, but I find the soft silicone pad of this lash curler is really so gentle, and as long as you wait until your mascara is dry, it'll be fine. Curl again, and I'm not gonna push as hard this time either. I'm just pumping the roots gently, and this is without me using my volumizing mascara, you guys. I'm using just the curl and lengthen side, which is my least favorite side. Now I am going to, I'll take a little bit of mascara to top the length with to add some length just to make them a little bit more obvious so you can really see it. But my lashes are way more curled with the heated lash curler, so if I like turn all the way to the side, you can really see. So we'll see how long this lasts, how durable it truly is, but really I feel like this is such a great product with a ton of potential, so I am going to continue to test this out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll just call this the look. This is my green look using Flower Nose. I did a look very similar to this already at some point on my Instagram, but I just thought I would do it again on camera for you guys. I hope you guys found this video to be helpful. If you have any more questions about Flower Nose, definitely feel free to ask me. I do eventually want to pick up more of their eyeshadow palettes and blush shades, but just, you know, money. But as I said at the beginning of the video, if there's anything from Flower Nose you want to pick up, then you can get 5% off. I know. Flower Nose, I feel like that's about as generous as they can be. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if their production costs are a lot higher than other brands because of the packaging. So you can get a 5% discount if you use the code in the description box, and that 5% also is my commission. So you can support my channel and get yourself some lovely products in the process. This video was not sponsored, and I received none of this in PR. I paid for all of this with my own money, and I signed up for the affiliate link myself. They are a small independently owned Chinese brand founded by 2 cosplayers. So this is just me just completely simping for Flower Nose because they're one of my favorite brands. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one very soon. Bye bye.